Celebrity Book Club. Who's that knocking at the door? It's all your friends, you filthy whore. Your husband's gone and we've got books and a bottle of wine to kill. It's Hollywood. It's books. It's gossip. I'm shook. It's memoirs. It's martinis. It's Studio 54. It's Celebrity Book Club. Come read it while it's hot. Celebrity Book Club. Tell your secrets, we won't talk. Celebrity Book Club. No boys are allowed. Celebrity Book Club. Say it loud and proud. Celebrity Book Club.
Buzz me in, I brought the Cuervo.
Hello, Sergeant Best Friend, or Colonel Best Friend.
Reporting for duty, sir!
Drop all your bags right now, sir! Give me 10 books!
Sorry, did you want the books perfect bound or saddle stitch, sir?
Saddle stitch, please!
Stitching now, sir! Oh yeah, I love this stitching. It's really not turning me on at all because the army is not an erotic place.
I don't get turned on when I'm in service. Personally, when I toured. Hey, what's up, Steven?
Hey, what's up, my fellow American?
My fellow goddamn American!
I love my patriotic friends. I'm doing really well. We'll talk about America a lot this episode, but I just want to check in and see how you're doing after our crazy weekend.
Yeah.
I know we were both at
weekend.
Yet another wedding because shoulder season is the new wedding season, I'm noticing.
Well, I think people are maybe now realizing that
summer weddings are
be
so hot.
sweaty
Yeah.
in suits.
Yeah.
And this idea of the summer wedding, I mean, Greta, let's say it.
No, I mean Greta.
We're in summer wedding season still.
She called it.
Not to brag, we went to another wedding this weekend, so that makes 2 weddings for us. This year, this month, really, after a drought where I felt like I was getting invited to no weddings and I was feeling like a capital L loser.
Yeah, and it's sucks to just see everyone having so much fun and traveling and getting wastizzo, and then you're like, where are my friends and why aren't they straight and why aren't they getting married? And you're like, oh wait, I do have straight friends and they are getting married. But I did, yeah, so that was a super fun wedding and I was totally hungover all day and I did watch a lot of the new Netflix show Drink Masters.
Which we need to get into.
Maybe we'll talk about it on the VIP
lounge. Because I also was totally hungover. Yeah, I'll admit it. I was hungover on Sunday. And I watched Drink Masters, but also I'm still homesick for Ireland, so I finished Dairy Girls.
Oh, because there's a new season. I need to watch that.
Yes, it's so good, my lad.
Oh, my lass.
And then this week we read before I guess we even announced it. I'll say one of us got a copy sent by the publisher.
And one of us didn't.
And one of us didn't. We are talking about none other than Trailblazer, international spy,
hacktivist, former army private, former intelligence analyst for the United States military,
former Starbucks employee, current DJ.
Current DJ who did go ahead and leak hundreds of thousands of classified documents from the U.S. military to WikiLeaks, altering the course of history.
Herstory, like the crazy bitch she is, and we
herstory.
Love her, and we stand her.
Oh, by the way, she's a trans icon also.
Yeah, bow down.
Of course, we're talking about Chelsea Manning. Her book,
Chelsea Manning.
readme.txt, TXT. It's a little play on files.
Files and hacking and open source data.
Can I ask, was that legible to you when you saw the book and you saw the readme? And again, I know you actually didn't see the book, but
well, I've seen the book in bookstores,
and I just want to actually. I want to thank for our Strauss and Giroux, FSG, as we in the business call them, for sending me this book. I know I'm on their list, and they know that I'm kind of a bookfluencer, and so they want to just send me cool books that come out. And I appreciate that, and they are seen and they are heard.
That is so awesome for you and your guys' relationship, because I have relationships with other publishers and that I actually can't name because it's classified information. And I guess I more just want to say to Chelsea and to our listeners out there, I'm ashamed of myself because I bought this book just via Amazon to Kindle, which is so not Chelsea, and I was ashamed that I didn't torrent it.
Yeah, it would have been cooler to download information for fucking free off of JSTOR or some hack JSTOR or whatever to get the files.
Right.
Okay, and sidebar, We need to leak this episode.
At midnight.
At midnight.
On WikiLeaks.
I'm sending this to Assange like the minute before it comes out.
Well, first send it to Pam Anderson.
Right. Then she could bring it to him when they're hanging out at the Ecuadorian embassy. Okay, so let's get into this insane book.
I feel like I knew it was going to be insane, but it was more fab than I thought.
She is that bitch. Like,
yeah, I'm just like,
sorry,
wait, you are
but
that bitch. Obviously, like, this book is going to be fab. And like,
she's the only bitch in history. Like, she's the only one who did. Like, there's a tiny handful of other people who are in her category. And honey, they're all men. They are certainly not like fabulous trans women.
John Adams, as she mentions.
Oh, yeah. That
was a leaker, and we'll get to that.
That was
but
part
like,
of her defense.
Yeah, it's like 3 other guys, but like no like fab, techno, nerdy Oklahoma City trans girl is out there like not being anti-war, actually.
Yeah, just being pro-transparency. And we'll get to that, but I actually came away with this book with such a newfound respect for her because I feel like she is not like a limelight seeking, like she makes Greta Thunberg look like Meghan Markle, like, and I'll be the first to say that
Meghan Markle look like Gigi Hadid.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Okay, and it's just like, I don't know why I didn't think it wasn't also just gonna be like this full crazy like hacker movie and like everything is like passwords are loading, but it's also so like 2000s and she's constantly burning data onto blank DVDs but labeling them Taylor Swift.
So that was like, I did know that, but I was just like, just to have it like be so situated in 2009 where like the Wi-Fi is bad. The book starts out, she's in a Barnes and Noble. In Greater DC, using the free Wi-Fi to upload literally like 600,000 documents, like State Department cables and like files from the U.S. military about the war in Iraq to WikiLeaks, and she's just like, the Wi-Fi at Barnes and Noble is being so slow, and it's like, wait, actually been there, and this is what's so gay about her because it's like, our people are always in a Barnes & Noble. Like, I'm in a Barnes & Noble every week having to take a crazy dump and being like, why isn't the Wi-Fi working?
No, Barnes & Noble is so gay. It's like the last kind of like alt gay space. Because you can like be a teen with purple hair. Sorry, there's like not places really anymore where you can hang out for free.
Yeah, I mean, the actual lack of public space within a capitalist society. And she also did work at Starbucks, which is also literally so gay,
right, which is it's so purple hair union Starbucks union queerdo. So basically, this book starts out like she's home like from a tour and is living with her aunt, who's like the only person that like family members besides her sister really supported her. Like classic memoir, had like such a depressing childhood where her Welsh mother was like such a crazy alcoholic and like always having strokes.
So, no, her childhood is so like August Osage County. So she's growing up in Oklahoma and the dad is an insane alcoholic and the mom's like an even more insane alcoholic. The fact that the mom is Welsh is really random.
That is random. And they met because, very important fact, her dad was in the Navy, which influences basically the whole reason she goes into the Army.
Yeah.
So he was like overseas doing stuff. They met like at a bar or whatever. Were like, damn, you're hot. That ended up being much more of a prison where they were just like imprisoned by their choice of being 20 and were both crazy alcoholics. And then got divorced, and then the dad was always beating Chelsea.
The dad's an asshole, and he like has this new step monster who's like such an insane step monster, and they're like having crazy fights, and it's so domestic. Just like the stepmom is calling the police,
like on Chelsea for like making a sandwich after 8 p.m.
Yeah, that part was really kooky. Did you see the part quickly though where she's like, and my sister did get married at a lavish reception at the Tropicana in Las Vegas?
It's always this thing with like books like this where you're like, oh yeah, like our childhood was so bad, but then you're like, I won't stay with my dad like before going to my sister's wedding at the Tropicana.
My sister was married on New Year's Day 2005 to a law student in an elaborate ceremony at the Tropicana Casino in Las Vegas. My father, and I'm kind of like, wait, babe, can we go back to
Like,
that
can
for
we
a
just
second?
go back a little
I have
bit?
a
'Cause
couple
it's
details
not
around
like-
the Tropicana wedding.
It's not like she doesn't go into so much detail about stuff. Like,
But the
other,
sister
like-
is always really supportive and like basically is like, yeah, like our parents are evil and like that sucks.
So the dad also, though, taught Chelsea how to code, which starts this kind of like the let me impress my father.
Yeah. No, I mean,
tortured.
it's her journey of like being this gay guy who obviously is not accepted by his parents. And like the dad being just like, you know, your classic like Oklahoma military, like angry father.
Just being like, you're a faggot. Like,
to then like push her to becoming like this crazy like runaway twink, like occasionally turning tricks, like sleeping with guys, like trying to figure out life, then like becoming a hacker. And then it's like primed her to be so like like pro-authority and like respect like patriotism and the concept of like America, and like but also be incredibly anti-authority and like I'm a hacker and I will see injustice, and then like ultimately I'm going to transition while I am exposing the entire US government, and like do those two things kind of simultaneously as like the ultimate kind of fuck you to the patriarchy.
right. And I think a lot of like people really like wanted her to like be a little more in this like box of like classic like most like leftist.
No, but
Like,
she's not.
you're normal. She's like literally not. She's just being so like no. And everyone was saying I was so peace, and I'm like not peace, and like she is this just like her whole thing was like, I don't want like civilians to die, but like I'm not here just being like peace.
Because I did like ultimately when her just being like, you know what, I'm actually just about transparency and that's my thing, and I'm not trying to be such an activist, even though obviously she is. Okay, wait, but backing up for a second, the bar in Oklahoma, the gay bar, there was a bar called there was the one outside the fort in upstate New York.
Yes,
that was called,
and that was for,
called
like,
Clueless.
yeah, Clueless, and that was for like all gay military.
Yeah, and everyone was just like, don't ask, do not tell.
Don't tell. And she was like, I actually didn't like going there because
okay,
like everyone then who had too much on you.
But hold up to this part in Oklahoma.
Okay, go back to Oklahoma.
I started going to the gay clubs down in the 39th Street district. 2 out of the 3 spots were 21 and over, but at the third, there was an 18 and up non-alcoholic lounge connected to the actual bar by a breezeway. So there's literally a lounge full of twinks connected to the bar, and you can be like a literal creepy older guy, walk through a breezeway and just grab a twink and go. It's
At
just
the non-alcoholic
at the non-alcoholic like via breezeway twink lounge.
It's so crazy to me that like New York is always being so like our lesbians bars are dying or whatever, or like you go to some town there's no gay bars, but yet Oklahoma City had like this entire block of bars, including a non-alcoholic 18 plus lounge. After she gets like kicked out by like, I feel like she just like moves in with her sister and then like leaves and is like, I just have to get out of here, and drives to Chicago, and then is just like, Chicago was so amazing, and is like describing Boys Town too, and it's just like, there's a street, it's called North Halstead.
Yeah.
And it's filled with amazing clubs, and like I could finally like be myself. But then like she was homeless and was like kind of turning tricks.
Yeah, Boys Town's a wild place, and it can like eat you up and spit you out.
It happened to me.
Yeah, you were turning a lot of tricks outside Steamworks. But just like to describe her style. So first of all, she's like this, like at this point, she's like very androgynous faggot. Now that I didn't have to wear a school uniform, I was experimenting with how I presented myself to the world, pushing boundaries. I favored a full-on emo goth look. Eyeliner with black hoodies and dyed black hair. Chucks or Doc Martens. Then it's like she's dating this guy who is random, and they go to Olive Garden and they like hold hands in line for McDonald's. We even kissed a little bit while waiting in line under the orange streetlights. That was a risky, even scary move in Oklahoma in 2005. Despite the thrill of a new social life, I got depressed. I turned up the volume on my tiny iPod Nano as high as it would go, listening to electronic music, trying to drown out the rest of the world.
No, it's always okay.
It's so
another
05.
Can I have this other music quote here? Where it's like, this is a little bit later, but like her music taste of just being like so electronica and like always on like a Discman or a Nano. And this is back to the beginning of the book when she's at Starbucks uploading all these documents. Sitting at a chair in the bookstore cafe, I drank a triple grande mocha and zoned out, listening to electronic music, Massive Attack, Prodigy, to wait out the uploads.
Yeah.
It's just like,
The triple grande mocha.
a triple grande mocha. Like,
it's also
faggot. I'm sorry,
yeah.
just like absolute getting the triple espresso, but like make it chocolate in the Starbucks.
And it's also very like Prodigy. It's like very Matrix soundtrack. Obviously, the Matrix was like incredibly, I think, formative for her. And like the Matrix is very much like a metaphor for transness.
Iconic film.
Like in many ways, like even like now, like it's obviously more obvious given the fact that the Wachowskis transitioned. But
Right,
like,
but I feel like it's an Autostraddle article always just like 20 amazing trans things about the Matrix. That, like,
exactly. Just being like it actually is also a trans metaphor anyway.
Yeah.
So that was like formative for her. And so then it's just like, so it becomes this thing where it's like, we'll challenge, be a hacker and not just be like, basically be Lisbeth Salander and be the girl with Dragon Tattoo and just be like leather, headphones,
leather jacket,
Prodigy.
tattoos, codes. I know it's kind of like, it's almost like you're like, thank God we do have this amazing hacker, but you're like, that stereotype didn't come from nowhere. You know what I mean? It's just like,
no, it's
you
real.
literally are actually like Chuck Taylor's leather jacket Prodigy.
Yeah.
I would say I relate with Chelsea of, you know, kind of like playing with gender and clothes. And I remember like watching movies about hackers, but just like, for me, coding was just never gonna be
well, you know, when I wanted to be
story.
a spy, I mean, like, you know, Chelsea's story is definitely something I relate to because I did want to be a spy when I first went to college. I took Arabic for 2 semesters. I took Intro to Computer Programming, and ultimately I did have to drop out of Intro to Computer Programming because
I didn't know why.
it was just simply not my language. Yeah, for personal reasons, I had to leave.
Wait, you never tell me this. You always make fun of me because I took I don't know, I feel like I've talked about me taking a class called robotics in college. That was like full of just like, so, and I was like, oh, this is cool. Like, I'm just going to like, learn how to make a robot. And then everyone in the class knew how to code.
Already. And you were like, all right, Carly Kloss, back it up.
Yeah, and I was always like, wait, what do you mean back it up? And they were like, yeah, so just write a simple code, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, we actually have to start earlier. I'm kind of missing this. So I didn't know that you had to take a beat from...
I had to take a beat, and I was like, you know, maybe I won't be a hacker. Because I tried being a hacker a little bit in middle school and high school. Like, I was very into Napster, and I was into torrenting, and I knew some HTML. Like, I once famously made that website that impersonated the Visa Bucks website to try and convince
your true claim to fame.
My true claim to fame, to try and convince my parents that I hadn't just put their money on my weird fake teen credit card, and that actually Visa had been hacked and made this fake website saying that like, we are Visa and like, we have been hacked. But beyond that rudimentary, like whatever GeoCities graphic design and HTML, like I never really learned, you know, seriously how to like break into a system and kind of like find vulnerable ports, which is a lot of what Chelsea talks about in this book.
It's a lot of open source and just being so like, yeah, Windows is the easiest operating system.
Or just be like,
hack.
sorry, yeah, Windows, the dumbest fucking system on the planet that like every single company uses. It's like, it literally couldn't be a bigger security risk just having Windows at your company. You idiot.
It's so amazing because it's like there are so many things going on in this book. It's one, it is this like trans coming of age story. Then it is also just fully when you go to the tech desk and someone is just like laughing at your computer. No. just being so like, so did you really think you could have that with your RAM? Nice try. Nice try.
Or that thing, and then you're like, yeah, I think it's like a 2016, like, whoa.
What are you doing here, man?
What are you doing, man? Yeah. Here's the thing. The ports on basically every computer that was made between 2014 and 2017, like, yeah, that's just not going to work with what you're trying to do. It's just not going to work. Like, I can defrag it, but it's not going to work. So it's really up to you.
Yeah, it's up to you. I can try, but you may lose everything, and we can't cover that damage. So,
So yeah, she is being insanely pretentious about her computer knowledge and her data and security experience.
but I mean, she
as-
should be because, as you said, she's the only one. So.
She's the only one. She is literally a full hacker, and she has the rate. And it is this thing where she is like. So then, when she gets to the military, she's obviously like excelling at like systems analysis and being an intelligence gatherer. And she's just like, honestly, I was kind of being so like friends with the officers and like this like insane admin bitch. Okay, the villain of this book is this just,
is a
like,
woman, a cis woman,
is a cis woman,
and
this
I would say
insane
like
cunt.
multiple of the villains like in her unit. I mean, I think it was a little more dominantly female because it was like more office.
Yeah,
but
I mean,
they were like also like mean to her, and it was anyway, this like,
I mean, don't you
admiral or
think
whatever.
do you think that these were straight women, or do you think that these were
I think they were lesbians and like
they were closeted?
well,
Because
so-
there's that
but
one
of-
lesbian she mentions who was like, oh, we were friends, and like she was
Yeah.
closeted and like I was closeted, and we knew, and it was like we're family
and that woman was also like married to another gay guy
in the unit.
And at one fort that she's at, she was just like, it was so gay and techie. She was giving me a little more just like crazy Linda Tripp vibes of like huge, towering straight woman who's just being like, oh, sorry, faggot. Whoops, your ASIS is broken now. And like kicking
I
it
love
to
the
the
idea
ground.
of Linda Tripp being like, sorry, faggot. Just this sort of beastly straight woman. Dry hair.
The driest
Yeah,
hair.
no,
Maybe
and then-
she
and then
was
she-
a lesbian and repressed.
Like she goes away and comes back or something, and then there's like a sign on Chelsea's desk that's like,
Says like only our words live here or something like that. It's like
oh,
such a
that.
okay.
The-
That was, and it was like didn't really make so much sense. But,
But
also, so
don't they
can we
put a
talk about
sign
how
that says faggot like on her
Chelsea
desk?
had a sign on her desk that said no more drama or no drama, please.
And I was like, you're kind of coming out as gay by having stopped the drama. Oh, because she was like, that was in reference to that like everyone was like, there was
Fucking
like so much
each other.
inter-office romance in Iraq because it was like you couldn't like leave the base. And I'm like, putting a sign on your desk to stop the drama is pretty like, I'm the gay guy.
right, just being like, honey, I do not want to hear about it.
Yeah. And then she put up that sign that was just like, Iraq, it's a treadmill. Like, you run really fast and you get nowhere.
These like insane, just like very Comedy Central like inter-Iraq jokes.
Very Comedy Central inter-Iraq jokes. I mean, that is like, I think the most important like political crux of this book is just like the slow realization that this war is completely pointless. And like, that's what obviously motivates her to make these leaks. And like, you know, the things that got the biggest attention when she does the leaks were like the collateral murder video. And, you know, we all remember when that came out, and that was like, that's the first, you know, it was such a clear edited thing. And then when WikiLeaks put it out, they like condensed it a little bit. And it's this video of the military bombing, just like shooting civilians from a helicopter basically in, I think it's Baghdad. And then like there's these two Reuters journalists who are also killed, and it's all on video, and you hear their audio commentary being like, oh yeah, we got another one. And, you know, they're just being like,
No, they'd be like, yeah, stomp the kids. Like just
you know,
being what you.
and what's interesting is, you know, those videos are, and she talks about it. She's like, they're all over YouTube. There's like kill videos. I remember seeing my brother's ex-girlfriend, her brother was
Yeah.
like in the military, and like once like we watched, like they make these like montage videos with like Creed songs that are like
take me higher,
like
And
that,
there's
but
just,
like
so
what's
much
that
murder.
song that's like, here comes the boom, what the, you know, like one of those, and it's like
Yeah.
very Monday Night Football vibes, but like they make these compilation videos of them like blowing up targets. And this video was like particularly impactful politically in the news, etc., because it was civilians who were being murdered, and then that murder title was major. And then, of course, you had like all the rest of the files just like revealing like so many operations that were sort of done with faulty intelligence, lots and lots of civilian casualties, far more than were being let on. And then, of course, like all the diplomatic cables that were also released as part of her huge cache, which she doesn't even talk about at all, really.
It's mostly about that video.
It's mostly about that one, like that one military one, and then like her being in Iraq and just being like, wait, this war is so stupid. And her being like, wait a minute, military industrial complex boots, like we're literally here for years. There's no winning this war.
So that we can quote leave.
Right.
And withdraw, and then have that be the drop. And then she literally says, like, the only reason we're here is to, like, quote unquote, give them American values, which is like building a fucking Target and a Starbucks.
This is just an example of kind of the stuff that she's seen. My best work, she's talking about her intelligence analysis work. My best work was rarely used, though. What officers liked were briefings with lots of slides and lots of pictures, anything pointing to exactly where the bad guy was. I became skilled at telling operations people what they needed to hear in order to justify a decision they had already made. But I also had to be objective, to do what I thought was my duty to perform the real analysis, even when that meant pointing out that what we were doing in certain places was creating the chaos, that we were the violence, we were the aggressor. The bad guys were only reacting to what we did. When we went into a neighborhood and shook it down, flushing people out and leaving death and destruction in our wake, we caused the whole area to unravel. War was being built on unreliable binaries of good and bad, and we ignored what we didn't want to see. The officers often didn't listen when I brought them inconvenient information. Thank you. Thank you.
Celebrity Book Club.
Let's talk about the leak. So first of all, she reaches out to all these different newspapers and no one listens. They're just like, we don't care.
Then she starts talking to a bi journalist.
He's the Linda Tripp. He's very famous, in the hacking community for being like literally an asshole because he actually just like exposed her and gave her up immediately when she like thought that he was her friend.
I know.
He
so
mysteriously died in like 2018, and I am just like, was he assassinated?
No, I know. She's like, it's actually really sad. He had issues with addiction. He died.
And I'm a little bit like,
and you're like, that doesn't
seem sus to me.
Because now I'm totally suspicious after reading this book.
Of the government?
Also, yeah, of the government, because I'm also a spy. I've always really been into conspiracy theories. I'm like totally weird like that. But, I think also her deciding to leak was also her just being like, I've also had like enough of being like closeted, and I need to like do something. I'm like, I can't get hormones, and I have to buzz my head, and I have to like wear my gross digital camo.
She's always making fun of the digital camo, being like, what are we trying to blend into?
I know, which was so funny. She was like, unless you're trying to like blend into your Windows ass like desk chair, like why the digital camo? I'm like, okay, slay. But it's just so funny how she was so desperate. I mean, I feel like she was just so desperate for like a change and something in her life and to get away because of like her traumatic childhood that like she got offered before she even goes to Iraq, like this amazing other job where she would have been in DC
and she would have just security. And then the whole leak would have never happened. She would have never been exposed to the Iraq war in the same way and been like, this is pointless and I need to like expose the government. But instead, and here's the thing, is because she wanted to make her father proud. But she also was like, if I one day want to run in politics, it'll be better to have a
tour, like,
which was so Pete
belt.
Buttigieg of her. Just
no, she was a little Buttigieg where she was just like, no, honestly, I do stand for our country. And you're like, okay, random. Why?
Well, and she did run for Senate, which she mentions in half a sentence at the very end of the book. She'd be like, and now I'm living my life and I ran for Senate and I do hope to create more music and I hope you're well. I have to go. It's a little like, okay, just gonna go gloss over that, but that's fine.
I also feel like combined one with just to go back to the conversation with her father, she's like going to community college and working in Starbucks and talks to her dad on the phone and he convinces her to join the Navy. And she's literally like, well, this is the only thing in the world that will make my father proud. So I have to do it. And then her only piece of rebellion was going into the Army, not the Navy, because the Navy office was closed. And she was like, this is how I can rebel, by joining the army. And my dad like will be a little
And
bit
it's just
pissed.
like at one of those like sad suburban like mall, like abandoned mall recruitment centers. And it's just like no one's at the Navy door. It's just like, well, I guess I'll do the army.
And the army is so excited because it is just so sell your knives, like being such a pyramid scheme in there.
Yeah.
And like they're like joshing with her and being like, no, literally we get that you're like a fully gay, but like join and don't write it down.
Yeah.
And then later on, so she's like, you know, at all these like US stations, and then is gonna get this amazing job, but it's like, no, I do want to run and be a Buttigieg.
But that kind of is like in the back of her mind, I think, is like maybe something, but it's more about just like
I think it's just I need to escape myself.
I need to escape myself. And then, you know, she talked about, she was like, you know, I couldn't even think about my gender in the military because I was so fucking exhausted and busy and getting screamed at and doing push-ups and like working that there was just no time to even like ever
Right. I feel like it was this like
any
other tactic to
inferiority
like not deal
at
with
all.
it.
So I'll push it aside. You know, it's the same reason I always say people go into the Peace Corps to avoid being gay.
Exactly.
You join the
or
military
even
to
why
avoid being
Pete
trans.
Buttigieg went into the army to avoid being gay. And then she like does get this boyfriend who goes to MIT, and like she's so obsessed with Cambridge and MIT, and is just so like, oh, it was so cool. Like we would just like do physics problems for fun and play D&D for hours and listen to more Massive Attack and order more Subway and like.
Okay, so the boyfriend is like doing this thing where he's there, but he's not. There's so many Facebook messages, and it's so many
writing on Facebook walls,
and so many and like just being like, and then he wrote on my wall being like, I'm like thinking of you or something, and it's like she's fully like hacking and stationed in Iraq, just like drawing maps that are like resulting in the deaths of like civilians.
No, it is so like, yeah, and I'm drawing
and you're
maps
just
and,
writing
like,
on her wall being like, hey, miss you, but then also like not still dating. It's like, what?
No, when the boyfriend was being annoying and was so like, she would be like, yeah, he wouldn't respond to my Facebook messages, but then would like post from a Don't Ask, Don't Tell like protest in Cambridge with a pin that said Army Wife.
That
and I was like, damn, now I'm pissed at Dylan.
That really, really took me out. The Army Wife pin, I was like, Dylan, you're just
virtue signal using Chelsea to be like, oh yeah, isn't it crazy? I'm actually have a partner in the army right now. But then like Chelsea is literally at like 2 a.m. in Baghdad, just like waiting for one message.
And there's nothing there. So I felt that Dylan was fake. And I'm going to call him out right now. Fuck him.
It's also probably hard to like date someone and to be an army wife.
I know how hard it is to be an army wife.
Because
I've seen 5 seasons of Army Wives.
Yeah, to tell everyone, we have a huge experience with the military, and that's, watching all 30 seasons of Army Wives. I used to have a turtle named after 2 of the characters.
Major Holden and Claudia Joy.
Claudia Joy and Major Holden. I wanted to read one quote of like just her fun online life of just like being a total like freak online.
Yeah.
Because like that was, and so it's just fun because yes, she's hacking and like exposing all these things, but she would also just spend so much time just like trying to fuck with a random like religious website.
Yeah.
My Chan buddies and I were baby edgelords. The term for this kind of cynical, juvenile, and often insincere internet troll hadn't been invented yet, but you could see the seeds in some of what's developed into the modern internet. We created new terms to describe our new concepts, like memes, clapbacks, fear and malaise, downvote brigades.
Fire and Malaser, I think.
Okay,
like.
What does fire and malaise mean?
So a laser is it's a sort of a futuristic weapon that you might see like in a gun, a laser gun.
Okay.
So if you were to fire it, that would actually shoot the laser.
But still, I want to fuck things up. I became a troll on Christian evangelical websites and creationist discussion forums. I'd sign up, spend a while talking like them and integrating myself in their community. I'd share Christian memes. Sometimes I'd even copy and paste comments from other sites. So I got the tone just right. All fire and brimstone and moralizing. Then, once I was in, sometimes so in, I was giving moderator status. I'd drop an opinion like, actually, I think evolution is legit. And a flame war would start. I'd get kicked off within a couple of dates, and I was like, ugh, I'm not being an edgelord enough.
I know, I love her just like making these fake accounts at some Christian website, like slowly getting, because she's been like, yeah, fuck Christianity. I'm like, fuck them for being so anti-LGBTQ. Let me just like thread this quick needle on her and why I do like her. So A, she's consequential. And I think that people don't give her and WikiLeaks enough credit for essentially like starting the Arab Spring. We don't talk about this enough, but like part of the cables that were released in that huge release revealed all this stuff about the Tunisian royal family that got people in Tunisia very angry. And like that's that first guy who like self-immolated in Tunisia, like started their revolution. And then like all the other revolutions across the Arab world started. And like that's literally, can we all trace back to Chelsea Manning. And it's like, she's not even sitting here taking so much credit for that.
No.
She's not taking so much credit for like, you know, changing the way that like people think about the military and transparency, like post her, like about like eroding support for the Iraq War, etc. It's like she wants no credit for that. All of the major figures of this story, fucking Julian Assange, Hillary Clinton's lying ass, Obama.
But that was also just sidebar. That was just and it wasn't even in such a like insane chapter about fuck Hillary. It was just so perfect about how dumb fucking Hillary is.
That's
when
when
it was.
Yeah.
When she was just like, yeah, and Hillary said I was like treasonous and like put lives in danger, and then like in emails to so many like foreign service people was like, actually everyone's
fine. No one's life is in danger. It's like all these people, Snowden, like she doesn't like talk about that. She maybe mentions them each for like one line. Like she does not focus on all of these like broader narratives that everyone has been talking about. She's not like giving you her opinion about everything. She's not ultimately being that political, other than saying she believes in transparency. She doesn't proselytize. She's not like passing judgment. She's not idolizing anyone. And I'm like, I find that to be very impressive and refreshing, and like makes her case that much more powerful, and makes the information that she revealed like stand on its own, because she does not at all seem like someone. And I think post her getting out, she has mostly resisted, I think, what I'm sure are many opportunities to be like a total like famous liberal girl boss Markle, like, you know, handmaiden
like
of the
half
empire.
a podcast with like Thinks and like Converse and Steve Madden.
And she's literally having her book launch at $3 bill and like being so queer and being like a DJ and just like
she
being messy.
stayed being queer, and she's like DJing on Thursday, like, but she's not like DJing the LGBT center like in honor of like Starbucks Day.
Exactly. You know, so she is authentically like still being girl with a dragon tattoo, like, and is fucking alt.
Alterna spy girl.
And I
also think calls out, which a lot of people forget, and she was just like, people thought like the Iraq War was like oral George Bush, but just like Obama kept on going.
Exactly. No, I mean, she is literally like, I think like a huge reason why there is any, if any, like, dissent against Obama on the left at all. People just being like, well, he actually is responsible for like drone bombing like so many people, even though he is still mostly worshipped. Okay, and then one last thing. Can we just talk about the fact that she did semi-name herself after Chelsea, but then it's just like, oh, now it's gentrified, as in the neighborhood.
No, I know though. No, but also it's insane that clearly she was like this Oklahoma City girl that like read about Chelsea Manhattan and it being like so cool in the 80s, and it's like, yeah, Chelsea's this really cool neighborhood with tons of gay bars and gay people, and the queer scene is thriving.
I'd played under the name Chelsea in video games a decade before, and it was a neighborhood in Manhattan full of dance clubs where queer people could feel totally at home and normal and welcome. Now, of course, the neighborhood is completely unrecognizable.
Fucking gentrification is kind of like, I don't know, Chelsea, I feel like out of all like gay neighborhoods has been gentrified for
y'all,
quite
it's
some
bad
time.
Gentrified. Like, I don't know if in 2010 you could be like, wait a minute.
I know, and Chelsea's like a few years older than us. It's kind of like, I would say for most of our lifetime, it's been pretty gentrified, but...
Is there anything else that we want to cram in here?
I don't know. I mean, just like so much happened. Just like
a
the
lot
way
happened.
like she dealt. Just like her prison wasn't completely insane, and they were like.
I mean, people do know this. This was all in the news, so maybe this isn't as important. I will say, I was moving a little bit faster through the whole trial portion of the book because that was more stuff that just like I know what happened, and yes,
No, the early stuff And just like I just want to say it's so cute how her aunt has like steadfast like supported her and would like send her Chuck Taylors like in jail basically, like, and was like, she knew my style.
No, she's being very my uncle who sent me a Barbie for Christmas when I was 5, when I asked my whole family for Barbies, and my mom sent out a letter saying don't send him Barbies.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, and my mom was also anti-Barbie, but like in a much more, because she's so second wave feminism and was like, it is bad standards for women's bodies.
Yes, exactly. It is unattainable beauty standards.
Yes. And my like Italian grandmother like went out and like got us Barbies, but like not still discount Barbies. Like they weren't actually Barbies. They were like Farbies.
Not the Farbies.
Yeah. And then my mom was like, and then I actually did accept Barbies as an amazing way for creative outlets.
Celebrity Book Club.
Segments.txt.
How dot she live?
How dot she where?
How dot she chow?
Oh, she loves to say chow. She keeps saying
I feel like that's a military thing.
It's definitely military. She was like, yeah,
like,
and chow time.
It was like, all we could think about was chow.
All right, what does she eat? Well, not rations anymore. She loves fast food.
She loves fast food.
Taco Bell, Starbucks, Subway.
Meatball sub, burgers. I mean, I feel like it's also like you're getting absolute trash and then you can get Subway. It's kind of like what's around you. But
Yeah.
she is, to me, very 6-inch tuna veg. She's kind of veggie delight. She's tuna salad sub to me.
So she's the Jared Fogle.
Yeah, I also think she like
Fogle
now
special.
like, loves Roberta's because she's so Bushwick.
I guess that's my question, is how much has she embraced like she gentrififi cultura in Brooklyn where she lives now, as a DJ activist, podcast listener, maybe Chelsea, you're out there, like, or is she still just, because I just feel like, you know, Red Bull's an addiction that dies hard in the grave, and it's just like you can't shake that, and like she still is just being like trying to gain access to a server like while downing some pineapple
a triple
Red Bull.
grande mocha while having a Crunchwrap Supreme. Okay, to me, she, I think, is kind of like Bushwick person who is from the suburbs who like still stands Domino's, Taco Bell, and Diet Coke, but like does love going to mid Bushwick restaurants.
She's mid.
Like,
yeah.
what's such a mid? Like, I don't know, just some random place on Morgan that like is a little bit neon. And like open,
yeah, like a medium ramen place that mostly does takeout.
Like, and like maybe went to Ops for her birthday.
I don't think she went to Ops for her birthday. Although I guess it's like, yeah, why wouldn't she? Because like some like faggot whatever. Like,
yeah, it's like, babe, Chelsea, you haven't had Ops? And she's like, no, do you remember a little thing called solitary confinement that I was in? And they're like, girl, we're taking you.
Okay, all right, maybe I will see her at Ops tonight.
But I could also see her being a little more takeout.
But I think she's just a little bit more takeout medium ramen.
Yes.
Okay, what does she wear?
What does she wear? Chucks.
Chucks. She's
I mean, now I will say she's definitely like looking her hottest, I think.
I feel like the pictures I'm seeing of her are always like her feet or like her hands or like she's being very like face, but like she's not being giving you like a full fit pic. I feel like
I get no, it's like parts. Well, that's why we need to see her DJ.
She's
but
very
I feel like her hair is being so like waves.
Here's the thing,
like straightened.
She is a trans girl programmer, so it's like it's
gonna be nerdier.
It's gonna be nerdy. She's gonna be like those tights with like. I feel like she is those horizontal striped tights.
Well,
that are so Alice in Wonderland, and like then it's like skirt over tights with hoodie, and then like
wait, you're talking like black and white horizontal stripe, like
or red and white, like
so
horizontal
like
stripe.
fully St. Mark's. I think like it's that on weekend, but
she is like, what do you think? She's very St. Mark's. Like.
She is, but I think she's also still a little like, as she calls it, Burlington Cone Factory, because I think she like also randomly sometimes wants to be like professional and is like finding herself between the Hot Topic and that she goes, I went to Berlin Coat Factory
Oh, wait, I forgot
for a
that.
purple
That's what I was
coat.
gonna say.
At Sephora, I bought makeup. I wanted to buy a business casual outfit, so I tried on clothes at Nordstrom and Bloomingdale's. I went home and put on my new clothes and a long blonde wig. But I just feel like she has, you're right, she has the St. Mark's tights, but then also has such a weird pea coat from Berlin Coat Factory and like some office blouses.
Yeah, there's office blouses, there's weird pea coats, because a lot of it's like, again, she's extremely suburban, she's like fully from Oklahoma, and she's also only been out in the real world for a few years, and she's still just being like, I want to be a woman, I want to be a professional woman, like, where does a business lady go get her business lady outfits? Like, she goes to Burlington Coat
Businesswoman.
Factory.
It is Robbie and Michelle high school reunion. Hi,
Yeah.
we're two businesswomen. We would like the businesswoman special.
But I think most of the time she's just being like hacktivist St. Mark's, like skirt over tights with hoodie.
Yeah,
and like
Converse.
Yeah, and like a kind of a funky glasses. When I say funky glasses, I mean like Connecticut funky with like kooky mom, like red, green, like a colored like frame.
Like big, huge grandma glasses, like when she's reading. I don't know. It's like also is she just like Warby because it's a chain?
I'm saying they're more like narrow
library.
Yeah, like weird, like non-cat eye, like weird glasses.
That's interesting.
That's right.
Okay, well, we'll go to Bushwick because I think she also just might be Warby because, again, like, she's getting out in the world and someone is telling her that, like, Warby is the cool place to go, you know?
Okay, I'm literally looking at a photo of her right now. And I'm sorry.
Oh, I see. Wait,
so
these glasses
weird.
are so lens crafters.
This is what I'm saying. Their lens crafters, they're weird.
Oh, wait, and she's wearing the ultimate St. Mark's hat here. The one that's like,
I know we're cheating, but, like, I'm sorry, she is.
Yeah. Wait, but this hat
St.
she's wearing that's being like kind of motorcycle with little pins.
I don't know what photo you're looking at.
I'm just describing the photo. It's like it's like the motorcycle hat style of hat.
All right, let's go to how does she live?
How does she live?
The question is like, how fucking messy and queer is it? How much cat litter is on the floor?
I know.
Or is it like, is she being more minimal now in this way where it's like, you know, when you go to a spy's house and there's nothing
I think it's like minimal because it is spy. I feel like it's like computer, bed, literally like most simple black coffee table from IKEA.
Is she living in like a new condo in Bushwick? Or is she living in like, or did like, I feel like it's like a friend, like her ACLU friend, like found her an apartment in Fort
Chase Strongio got her a Chelsea.
Strongio, who I have gossip about, by the way. Which
okay, VIP lounge. Chase gossip. I feel like someone's mom is like best friends with his mom.
Yeah, and that's why I have the gossip.
Okay, ham, tea. Open source, bitch. Okay, this might be crazy to say. I kind of actually feel like she doesn't live in Bushwick, but like likes to hang out there.
Yeah. Well, I think she's DJing in Bushwick, but that she is living. This is what I'm saying. So I think like Trace Strongio got her like a 1-bedroom in Fort Greene. That's just like minimal, and there's only 3 other units in the building, and she can have the privacy she needs.
Yeah, and it's like
and I think it's halfway between messy queer and a minimalist spy. So it's like minimalist messy spy queer. So it's like,
and I think there's times where like the Taco Bell, like what we're calling now, the Roberta's takeout is piling up because
the medium ramen takeout.
She's been so like interview open source, and then like I feel like the clothes are everywhere, and she's like playing whatever like Fortnite with like a headset for like 6 hours. Yeah, there's controllers.
She's very
and
very Apex Legends and just like. Yeah, she has like all, and like there's stuffed animals in there.
I disagree. I don't think there's such sentimental childhood things after she had such a horrible childhood. I don't
they're
think
not
there's
they're like new Japanese like anime stuff.
Oh, like maybe there's a Cause doll.
Yeah, she's got a Cause doll.
Like I could, some Funko Pops and Cause, but like not a soft teddy bear from childhood.
And like also now she's like apparently dating Grimes. I mean, who knows if that's true? I feel like that was a rumor 6 months ago, and I haven't heard it as much lately.
I don't know if I believe that. Who are you in the book? I definitely think we both have like Chelsea, parts of Chelsea in us. the punk side to the Starbucks side. But I also see myself as Chelsea's like sister who's getting married at Tropicana and is like, I'm worried about you. Why did you join the army? That's so weird.
Yeah, I really want you to get married at the Tropicana in Las Vegas. That's what I hope for you. I mean, I'm obviously not her like evil, the admin girl in Iraq, but just like, am I just like one of these other like random
Open
brunette
source
chicas like in Iraq who's just like fucking one of the other like cops there?
Oh yeah, who's just being like going over to Chelsea to tell the drama.
Yeah.
You're in the Pam and Jim. Oh, when she describes like
when she has that birthday party where she's like, and like only girls came because like obviously, but then she's like, yeah,
Guys started showing up.
guys started showing up to my office party because literally there were women there. I say this book is really good because it's like one of those people where you're really like, you really did something.
Like yeah, it's kind of like you really deserve to have a memoir.
You
not
deserve
like
to have a memoir at 38
a million other
or-
fucking memoirs that come out every day. I'm like, if anyone gets a memoir, it's you, bitch.
No, this is the second person who's worked at Starbucks that we've read, the first being Chasten Buttigieg. And I just found this to be a much more substantive journey.
With a lot more views and a lot more action, honestly.
And as I was saying, I do really respect the kind of the line that she's taken in her politics and like where she lands in this book. At the same time, you know, there's part of you that like, there's part of me reading it that wanted so much more.
Yes. No, same,
about
'cause I was
all
like-
of that.
But I feel like she still is in this place that's like, I'm so traumatized from already everything I literally leaked.
Right.
So maybe I'm not going to leak anymore.
Yeah, I mean, the part where she was like, and I totally respect about Ed Snowden. She was like, the problem was it came at a weird time for my trial because then all the reporters left and kind of started covering him. And I'm like, that's really funny. But yeah, so it's like, yeah, I do wonder, like, I'd love to hear more about like what she thinks about, I don't know, like the world.
And I feel like she didn't really say much about Assange either.
That's why I find like very respectable about her book is that she literally there's literally one page about Assange, and she's talking the whole time just being like, I think I was talking to him when I was talking to
yeah,
this
and his
guy.
name was like something else in a chat, which is
Nathaniel
also
Frank.
cool. It's like, this is your book. We don't need to make this about Assange.
No, this is your book, and she's gonna be like, you know what? I'm again like she's letting what happened speak for itself, and she's letting the information speak for itself. And she's not gonna like get into all the other characters, and like the same thing with the Hillary and Obama and Snowden and all the other. But again, I just left me a little bit like, well, what does she think now?
Truly, because she keeps on saying, all I care about is keeping civilians alive and information being open. It's like, well, but why do you care about information being open? What's the idea behind that?
Because, you know, Snowden is he's much more like, I mean, Snowden is in exile. He's in Russia. Assange is in prison. And both of them, I would say.
Pam Anderson is trying to get Assange out.
And
She's
both of them
yet
are like sound off on issues, I would say, more often. And it's like she like ran for Senate, but then is kind of just like, never mind, I'm actually a DJ. But it's also, again, like she's so traumatized. She doesn't owe us that. So
No. But yeah, it does.
I
It makes
respect
you
it.
wonder, I think, is what we've both landed on.
And I would say also, yeah, the book is definitely super interesting in the beginning. All the trial stuff is a little less interesting because it kind of happened. Kind of similar to the Amanda Knox story where you're kind of like, okay, it's your trial,
Yes,
still
but it's
happening.
like, I feel like she thinks, oh, this is what people want. But it's like, what I loved is hearing about you firing a Prodigy on an iPad Nano, uploading files on Burlington Co. Factory's own secure Wi-Fi.
Right, and what I need more of is a full detailed description of the menu at your sister's wedding at the trial.
Yeah, dropping it off.
Okay, but I do give this book 4 out of 5 available ports.
Okay, wait, sorry. I give this 4.7 Chuck Taylors out of 4.7 little tiny felt motorcycle hats.
Wow, okay.
With
crazy mathematics there. All right.
All right, well, this was literally tons of fun and educational.
Thank you so
Because
much.
we're always talking about 9/11, but not the Iraq War.
Thank you. That's so true. And specifically, our podcast is always talking about 9/11, but never the Iraq
That's what
War.
I'm saying. Not we as a people. I'm saying you and me are always 9/11 this, 9/11 that. And it's like, let's get down to brass tacks, okay?
Thank you, Chelsea, for your service to the world and for writing this interesting book.
Thank you, Chelsea. I'm saluting.
I salute you, Private Manning.
And now I'm chest bumping you at our office party in Baghdad.
Best.
Celebrity Book Club is presented by Prologue Projects. The show is produced by Benjamin Frisch, with editorial support from Leon Nafok, Andrew Parsons, Arlene Arevalo, and Madeline Kaplan. Our production manager is Percia Verlin. Original theme song by Stephen Phillips Horst. Artwork by Teddy Blanks at Chips NY. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at CBC The Pod. Subscribe on your favorite podcast app. Leave us a review and don't forget to tell your friends, well, about us. And don't forget to go to patreon.com for access to the VIP Lounge, our exclusive bonus podcast.